Hello, welcome to Forest Focus. As Nottingham Forest suffer a setback in the race for Champions League football as they lose 2-1 to Aston Villa tonight. A very strange game at Villa Park as Forest suffer a nightmare start, end the game with most of their attacking players off the pitch, and miss a host of chances after the break to lose out, unfortunately. So joining me to discuss it all, first of all, is Saveena Johal. Saveena, how are you doing?
Hi, Matt. I'm great, thanks. Yeah, bit of an interesting one. I think we could have put the game to bed, to be fair, but yeah, I wish I was talking after a more victorious game. But otherwise, I'm good.
Well, it's good to have you with us. I mean, I didn't think we'd be saying anything like that at half time, but we'll get into it, certainly. Mark Sutherns, how are you?
I'm all right. Very disorganised. I had to rebuild my shed because we lost all power and I sent my PC away, but I've managed to cobble something together to be on the post-match. First time in ages. And
I know. I got a message.
With a defeat, I'm afraid. Yeah.
Well, we won't hold that against you. We'll hold it against a few other people. Potentially, we'll get into that. Yeah, I've been getting messages saying, "Where's Mark Sutherns? Where's Mark Sutherns?" So we're giving the people what they want. After
there was one. There was one message, Matt. Let's not go crazy.
Well, there was definitely one. There are a few more, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Kick us off, Mark. Just in general, then, before we expand on everything. General thoughts on what we witnessed.
It's funny. It's a really strange game because at the end of it, I was very disappointed we didn't get anything, and yet when it was 2-0, we were like, so one goal after another. I mean, they were the old Forest, weren't they? Conceding goals back to back. We haven't done that for a while. It was a very un-Forest-like match. We haven't been involved in that kind of game, I don't think, this season. And unlike us, we created so many chances away from home and wasn't clinical enough. And had we had Chris Wood on the pitch, I think that would have made the difference. Would have taken at least one of those chances and pulled level at least. And yeah, it was just very odd. There was like, I couldn't work out the formation. I couldn't work out what he tweaked second half, if at all. Sky kept mentioning that we'd gone to 4 at the back when I didn't think we had. It still looked like we had wing backs on there. So it was a very confusing second half, very chaotic when Jota Silva came on. And yeah, I ended up having at one point thought, let's just get home and not take any injuries or suspensions. Subtly, I was disappointed that we didn't get at least a point. So yeah, just a very bizarre game, but I think we've just got to remain positive, particularly after that second half.
Yeah, I think we might have taken an injury. There's some waiting for this confirmation. Will in the chat saying that Nuno said Elanga is not totally okay, was the quote. So we'll keep an eye on that because that'd be a big blow. I think Saveena, Mark makes the point there that both ends of the pitch, it wasn't what we've witnessed really. That first half, first 15 minutes. Well, we have witnessed collapses first 15 minutes. We were very easy to break down. And then second half, could you believe what you were seeing with all those? I mean, they weren't sitters. There were so many half chances we couldn't take, could we?
Yeah, you're right. And I think because of that, so I think ultimately Villa probably did deserve the win in the end. Like you said, so the second half was definitely a lot more positive. We had those chances, but we just didn't have the finish. We had enough chances for a more positive result. I kind of enjoyed watching us playing on more of a front foot. So it's, clearly a different style to what we're normally used to. But yeah, the chances that we had in the second half, I think we were definitely missing Wood because, with those, he's very clinical and he's really good at kind of turning those half chances into goals. We had a lot of those today and we ultimately missed a lot. But I think so Jotter came in, he did really well actually coming on for Elanga with his goal. And I think the lineup, it was dictated by the injuries, but it was good to see the change in the second half. It was really, so, I mean, the first half, those 2 goals went in within just over 2 minutes, in quick succession. And you're kind of thinking, oh my gosh, when's the third one going to come? So I think we actually did quite well to hold on to the game after that in the second half. So yeah, it was quite reassuring to see that display. And it is strange to come away from that thinking that we could have won. Because I think before going into it, you're playing against Villa. Villa Park is a tough place. It's a tough place to go. We've struggled there in previous seasons. So I think we were all kind of hoping to minimise the injuries, and no, we didn't want any more injuries basically. And I think a draw would have been great, but I think a lot of people were probably almost expecting a loss, especially after the first half. But yeah, I think the second half, it was a good performance, and after that, we should have probably won.
Let's dig into those injuries a little bit then, Mark. Nuno on Radio Nottingham said on Taiwo and Chris Wood, we've got to assess them day by day, see if they're available for the next one. And he did say Elanga not totally okay. So three of our three biggest goal threats, really, if you count Taiwo. I know we'll get into Taiwo, but our two main strikers and our flying inform winger, doubts at best for the Everton game. What do you make of that?
Well, it's taken its toll, isn't it, now? I think it was positive the way we turned the game around in the second half, but we are very, very stretched now. Awoniyi's absence was obvious, and probably we wouldn't have conceded both those goals had he been on the pitch. And I think that, the firepower that we lack without Chris Wood and now without Elanga is really worrying. I hope Wood's return is closer than perhaps Nuno is letting on. I always felt that the trip to Villa Park was going to be a very, very difficult game, but the home game against Everton is crucial. And we've got to get some of our threats and goal threats on the pitch for that game, because I think that is a game that, yes, we've still got a points cushion, but at home to Everton, we've got to get something, and hopefully 3 points. So we need goal scorers on the pitch, and Elanga missing at the moment. Elanga at times has been looking unplayable. He had a moment today where he could have dragged us back in it in the first half. But every time he gets the ball at the moment, opponents are looking very, very worried, and he's being very direct and he's full of confidence. So we need him on the pitch, and we need Chris Wood back as soon as possible, because we have got very winnable games to come. And, while today is not a setback where we need to panic, we do need to win the home games, because otherwise the chasing pack could close, and it could be what suddenly was looking comfortable could look very uncomfortable going into the final few games. So yeah, that's bad news if Elanga's out as well, because he's in significant run of form, and we're already missing Chris Wood, of course.
Yeah. Let's talk a bit about Taiwo. I can see stuff in the comments. I find it really baffling. Snarky comments about him I don't get. Being angry at him I don't get. I mean, I'm angry at Morato, and we'll get into that. I'm not angry at Taiwo. He's a guy who's given his all for the club. He got injured the second time because we rushed him back. He came back the first time and he looked like an absolute cart horse because he wasn't fit. And now he's injured again. But I'm not annoyed at him. I feel sorry for him. It's frustrating because he's doing his best. And we can debate his performances, because we have done until the cows come home. But digging the guy out, and I don't get it at all. There's another conversation which we'll probably pick up on Monday about his future, and that's a very fair debate. But this thing of being annoyed at the guy, I don't get it personally. And we'll see if he's back on Monday, back for Everton. If he's missed one game, then I don't think it's a big deal. But what do you make of the Taiwo situation, Saveena?
Yeah, I'm completely with you there, Matt. I fully agree. He's been great for us, in previous seasons. But I think ultimately he's been a great, an excellent servant to the club. He does what he's instructed to do in the games. But ultimately, I don't feel he is a goal threat anymore. And I'm not a fan of the criticism either. We all know what he is and what he's done, and he's so positive. So he does put his all on the pitch, and he tries his hardest, and you can see that in his face. He's always there, kind of smiling. But it does also highlight that we do need a backup for Wood, because obviously Wood's injured, Taiwo as well. So we do need a kind of solid backup there as well. So yeah, I think that would definitely help. But I still remember the good that Taiwo has done for our club. So yeah, I'm not a fan of the criticism either.
Yeah. I see the comment. I'm not making excuses for Taiwo. Yeah. I'm just saying I don't know why people are digging him out, because and when he comes back, I mean, it's fair to say, Mark, I don't think he hasn't looked a goal threat. Saveena's right, and there is a conversation about what we do with him in the summer, isn't there? And also, probably as well around January. It's so easy to say now. We should have signed someone. What's your thoughts on Taiwo, the future, and the strikers in general, just briefly? And we'll probably expand on that more on Monday as well.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, we wouldn't be where we are without Taiwo because of what he did in that season, keep us up, and that goal against Arsenal will live in my memory till I leave the earth. Probably it was a fantastic moment in that run of games where he scored consecutive goals. Undoubtedly kept us in the Premier League. So we owe him so much. And secondly, digging out players in this season, given the season we're having, I just don't see the point of that. I don't see what positives can come from that. Having said that, I do acknowledge the frustration because he looked like he was edging his way back to fitness. You're absolutely right. I don't think there's been a period this season where he's been fully fit, and even though we've seen some encouraging signs, I don't think he's fully fit or anywhere near his best, right? So I think the frustration comes from the fact that we felt that he was getting there, and he was getting there at a time when we needed him because Chris Wood was out. So I get that there is frustration. There's also frustration that we're having to rely on Taiwo because we didn't move in January to some form of backup, when really the club must have known that Taiwo is in this state in terms of injury, and he is an injury-prone player now. I mean, there's no question. I don't think we can say anything else. And the club perhaps now regret taking that risk and moving forward without anyone to back Chris Wood up, because if Chris Wood is out for a longer period, we are very, very short. So yes, I get the frustration, but I don't think it's positive in pointing it at Taiwo, given what he's done for us and what we've achieved off the foundation of what he gave us that season. His future, it's very difficult to see a future at Forest because we're going to need every squad player to contribute next season if we do make Europe. And in that scenario, we can't carry a player who's using a forward slot, which will be very precious, of course, who is struggling for fitness and struggling to get back to his best. So I don't really see, unfortunately, there's no room for sentiment. I think we've said that before on this podcast. I think we have to find a way of moving Taiwo on because we'll need every ounce of that squad that we can name in the Premier League and in Europe, given that we'll have midweek games. So, it's a shame. But, I don't want to see him dug out. And I want to see him, get back to his best. But I don't think it will be with Forest.
Yeah, I agree. The situation is entirely frustrating. And the club did roll the dice in January, and I think we recognise that. I think they took the calculation that there was no deal out there that suited them to strengthen the squad. I looked at the January transfers while the game was at half-time to see what other clubs did. And there wasn't a lot of good business. Ironically, I think Villa probably did it with Asensio, and Rashford was their own gamble. I mean, it was Evan Ferguson, absolutely nothing. So I think there's a little bit of sort of hindsight in that, there wasn't a queue of players for us to sign, I think. So the club rolled the dice, and at the moment, it looks like it might.
Well, but let's not forget we did try. I mean, we did ultimately put bids in for Rissa and Kuna. Right? The question is, were those bids ever realistic, and should our time, attention and energy been spent on more realistic targets? Perhaps that is the one criticism. There is no question we were trying to bring in a striker, but did we focus in the right area there? Was Brentford ever going to let Rissa go at that point? I think they'll let him go in the summer. And was Kuna ever realistic if we did put a bid in for Kuna? So perhaps we didn't get our targets right. Maybe we could have gone for a more realistic target. Who that player was, I haven't got the scouting network at my fingertips, but I imagine we did have other targets. But I think it seemed we focused on Rissa and we didn't get him. And it was a risk. And we've got players who can play that central role. Jota perhaps was one of them. Sousa was one of them. Perhaps that the club and Nuno thought could drop in if we needed it. Elanga, of course. But I just pray that Wood or even Taiwo can get back in the side and spearhead the attack, because we do need that central striker.
Yeah. I think we tried to do summer business in the January window. I think you're right there, which is a little problem. Certainly a problem. We'll keep our powder dry a little bit for Monday, because I want to discuss who would actually buy him. But Mark's back on Monday, so I don't want to. I'll give him stuff to talk about with Gary, obviously. So we'll pick that up. let's see who's back for Everton, and we'll have some thoughts on the Everton game before that. We are 15 minutes in, 355 people with us, which is lovely. Do hit like if you haven't already. Thank you to Brandon for signing up for membership. Brandon Hall, thank you for Red Dog Cooks for membership for 14 months. We'll discuss how down we are or not after the performance as well at the end, and then on the other side of this break, we'll get into the game with Saveena on the first goal. So formulate your thoughts on that first goal, Saveena, while we take a word from the Trent navigation. If I can find the video. Have I deleted the video? No. Here's the video, everyone.
Hey up me duckies, a quick rundown of match days at the Big Shed. We're open from 10, serving full English breakfast, teas, coffees, and believe it or not, beers. Father's Footy Quiz is followed by the lunchtime kickoffs, and the outdoor kitchen is fired up from midday, serving sourdough pizzas, burgers, hot dogs, pies and sausage rolls. Lovely. Pints start at £4. We have a great selection of cask ales and lagers to lubricate the vocal cords for a bit of a sing-song before the game. After the match, we've got some great DJs and live bands booked. So get your send down to the Trent Nav. Win or lose, we're having a booze. And if we draw, we'll have some more.
Way too many videos.
You must be struggling with those Trent Nav adverts giving you on a diet, Matt. You know, burgers, pizzas, all that. Must make you hungry.
I know. We were saying before we started recording that I've not eaten crisps, chocolate, sweets, anything like that for a month. Barely, no ice cream, barely a beer. It made absolutely no difference to my waistline, which is a frustration. But I guess that's what happens when you get a bit older, right? Saveena, the start's the game. Actually, let's talk about the setup. We should talk about the lineup in general, because no Taiwo, but there were other options. What did you make of the starting 11? Honestly, when you saw it, not when you saw how it unfolded, what did you make of the team Nuno picked?
Yeah, I thought it was an interesting one, but I guess it had to be done given the injuries. So the back three, it's not something we're used to. So I thought it would be, it was quite an unfamiliar situation we found ourselves in. But I was glad to see it change to a back four in the second half. So in terms of, obviously the first goal really kind of fed into that. It was very disappointing, came pretty early on, but it's due to there being, there was a bit of disarray in that back line. I felt that kind of Dominguez and Murillo, they almost weren't on the same wavelength with the rest of the centre-backs. The back line was a bit staggered, and there was just that general sort of confusion amongst the team, and it just felt quite disjointed for me. And we've had a solid, a strong defence all season, I'd say, and it's not something that I've been used to seeing. So it was a strange one. But I think we could have done a lot better there.
I think we played three at the back at Brentford, unless I'm wrong, Mark. I've got a feeling we played three at the back. We won 2-0 at Brentford. I think we've done it before. What did you? Were you, when you saw that team sheet? Were you aghast at three at the back? Or not?
I was not surprised at all, because we didn't have Moreno, so we knew that we were going to be weak on the left side. And what he did was he put Williams on the left side and brought Dominguez in right wing back. And it's not ideal, is it? When you're missing Awoniyi, who I know that Trent will probably get in the team of the season at right back through default, but he shouldn't be. It should be Awoniyi. He's the best. He's been the best right back in the Premier League for me this season. I know I'm biased, but I think he has been outstanding. So when you take him out, that side of the defence, including the right-sided centre-back, is going to be up against it. And the right-sided centre-back today was Murillo, and he had Dominguez as his wing-back, and that's an obvious weakness. And Rodgers has scored that goal before this season where he occupies that half space and he just drifted in between Dominguez and Murillo. Murillo, I think you probably mentioned, seemed to be pulling his socks up, which is ironic. And Dominguez just got stuck on Maatsen out on that side, I think, and was kind of just not switched on, but he's not used to playing right wing back. And Morato is used to having Aina there when he plays there. So, that was a clear weakness. And Rodgers is a very good player, and he's very good at finding that space. They found him with a lovely ball, and he tucked it away and punished us. And then, they punished us that side again. And it's no surprise when you take Awoniyi out the side, you're going to be far weaker on that side, particularly when you're asking a midfielder to sit into that role and try and think as a right wing back when he doesn't often play that position. I don't think he's ever played that position for us. Yes, he's a right-sided midfielder. He can tuck in. He has defensive qualities. But when it comes to tracking an opponent, he's not going to think in the same way as an Awoniyi or Nico Williams. So, yeah, we were weakened on that side. I thought a back three was the only way we could go, given that we had the absences. And it was just disappointed that that side got exploited so easily twice.
Yeah, I think the lineup worked out wrong. I don't think it was necessarily completely wrong. Toffolo could have played, and he might have struggled. I think Nuno has a right to expect players to do the basics of not pulling your socks up when someone's about to ping a 60-yard ball. I mean, I think Morato had the contender for the worst individual performance of the season today. I think he's been good for us this season, but he was awful. I mean, he got books. He looked off the pace. He gave the ball away. Cherry on top of the cake. He took a foul throw as well. I mean, I don't know why he's playing on the right side when he's left-footed. I don't know if he wants to play in the middle, so I'll give him that mitigation. I think we've played Milenkovic on the right of a back three before, and it's looked better. But yeah, I mean, Morato, I thought he should have come off. Danilo got hooked first half on Tuesday. I thought Morato could easily have got hooked. So
I think Danilo was hooked for tactical reasons, not because he did have a problem.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but I think we should have changed formation in the first half. Maybe Toff should have come on.
Yeah, I agree. But I like I say, when you take Awoniyi out of that side and you ask Morato to play on his wrong foot that side with Dominguez as a right wing back, you're up against it, aren't you? And then when he got booked, and I thought he'd come off straight away at that point, but we gave him another 10 minutes, I think. Yeah, he had a poor game, but I think in his defence, if you can defend him, it's Aina's absence and the fact he didn't have a natural right-sided defender there. Had Williams been able to play right wing back and Moreno left wing back, we'd have been okay, I think. But Morato got found out and Dominguez just didn't track the runners.
Yeah, he had a bad game. He's been a good player for us this season, and I think he'll be a good member of the squad next season as well. But I just don't think he played well, and he was up against it, certainly. Steve, thank you very much for membership. Appreciate that. Very good of you. Second goal, Saveena. I think they said it was 2 minutes 20 seconds later, the same side. I don't know. Where did it go wrong for you? Same sort of areas, I guess.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, again, it was on the right side. I think Villa, definitely exploited us. I guess the only positive really to take from it is that Nuno did change it in the second half. Morato did look nervous. There was that same disarray on the same side. Nico lost his man as well. And it was like a very similar situation just a couple of minutes later, and you're kind of thinking, okay, it's going to happen again and again and again. But then we held on, but it was just those kind of moments in the first kind of 30 minutes of the game, I'd say, where the team seemed to be, coming into it. And then eventually we had Anderson and Gibbs-White slowly coming into the game. I think just before the kind of first half whistle. But yeah, before that, I think we've just been plagued by injuries, and there was a lot of confusion. And Villa, although they had 8 changes, I think they were still a very strong side.
Yeah, that's a good. I will pick up on that actually. That's a good point. I mean, yeah, second goal. I know Yates got done for it. Certainly, Nico seemed to lose his man as well. He didn't seem to know where Marlon was, which is out of character for him. So, yeah, that wasn't great. I mean, the squad depth is a good point, Mark, isn't it? They make 8 changes. and their team could have been their first team on another day, apart from the right back, I guess. So that shows somewhere where we kind of have to gradually work towards as well, I guess.
Yeah, well, they've got a Champions League campaign, so they had to prepare for it, and so it's not surprising they've got more depth. It shows you what we've got to do if we do get Champions League. We've got to sign 5 or 6 players of Premier League quality, which is going to be very difficult to do. Yeah, I mean, when Dina wasn't playing and Maatsen was out on the left, I thought, well, that might be handy. But as it turned out, it was it was difficult. And Dominguez got sucked in. Yates tried to cover him, and you don't want Yates defending that area 1-on-1 with a speedy wing back, which is what Maatsen is. And Maatsen embarrassed him somewhat, put in a quality cross, but he had plenty of time to pick his man. And yeah, Nico did lose his man. I thought Nico had a very good game, so I don't want to criticise him. I think the issue there is, again, the right-hand side, and Villa just found space too easily. And you don't want Ryan Yates going up against Maatsen in that situation. And not surprisingly, he's not a right back. He's not a right-sided midfielder. He got done, and they punished us twice. So, yeah, it's a shame because they found that weakness and they worked through it and found 2 goals. I think obviously we managed things a little better after that. Got to half time, and then obviously were far better in the second half and with a better side. So in the end, it's disappointing. But at that point, when the second goal went in, I was all about, well, let's just get back, try and keep it to 2-0, and like I say, not take any more injuries. So it was a shame the way the goals came about, because in the end, we really should have got something from the game.
Yeah, we set about Tielemans a lot better second half. Him and Onana were really just dictating things. But yeah, we had a really good purple patch. We'll probably come on to that. I mean, we did have chances first half. Saveena, didn't we? Elanga, Hudson-Odoi. Did you see a way back into it at half time?
Yeah, I did. So I think we kind of had, we had that great Elanga chance. So that was almost a copy of the Man United goal. And I guess we all thought that was going to go in. Hudson-Odoi effort as well. I think that should have been hitting the target. We had a very positive response in the second half, I felt. Nico Williams, he was brilliant. He was actually my man of the match. And Anderson had he tried. I think he had a few kind of efforts. Morgan Gibbs-White as well. But I definitely think that we should have got enough to be able to get the win today.
Yeah,
I wanted a quick goal as well, and I kind of expected those changes to reorganize the back line, hopefully get those chances.
What are the emotions coming out of that second half, Mark, then? Because half time, Elanga went off. I wrote in my notes, game over, because I just didn't see us getting in it. And then we have this extraordinary flurry of chances. So we'll talk about the chances specifically, but what are you more glass half full or glass half empty after that?
Yeah, you got to be positive. I think we went into the team with notable absentees, got exposed in the first half on that right side, but then we definitely got amongst them, and we were the better side in the second half, no question. And yes, they had chances and we had to rely on ourselves, but that's because we were going for it full tilt. So we haven't seen Forest produce that many chances in a second half away from home this season, I don't think. We've had some great performances, but most of those performances have been about managing the game and being clinical and taking one of very few chances and winning 1-0 by the odd goal. This was a very different state of affairs where we were just running them ragged at times, and the chances weren't gilt-edged, though, were they? You look at how Opta define it. They had 5 big chances, we had none. So although we had 19 shots, I wouldn't class any of them as more than half chances. So I don't think we can be too critical, but we have seen us be clinical and take those kind of chances. It's just unfortunate on the day that another one didn't go in and we got a point, because it felt like we deserved something for that second half showing. So I leave the game positive. I'm just worried about our strength in depth if we've taken another injury, because it's very hard, I think, for us to find players from the bench who can replace the likes of Chris Wood and now Elanga if they are missing, of course Olarena. So our first 11 is very strong. Our first 11 and perhaps 1 or 2 subs have got us where we are now, but we're starting to feel it. So I am positive because of the spirit that we showed second half, but I'm worried about the lack of depth that's now appearing.
Yeah, I think that's right. That's my emotion, certainly. I mean, the chances that they were Chris Wood, Chris Wood pulled them away, he scored that one. And then in these games, Saveena, they missed them. Unfortunately, Elliot Anderson, Morgan Gibbs-White and Nico Williams aren't really that level of finishing, especially Anderson. Is that probably the one weakness in his game?
Yeah. So I think it was good to see Anderson. He was definitely on the ball more in the second half, which was great to see. I think he's a great player. I think Elliot Anderson is absolutely phenomenal. He was kind of getting into those shooting positions, but like as you say, he didn't really trouble anything. Like we didn't see that end product. It would be good to kind of see him improving that. He's not really that goal scoring threat, but it'd be good for him to kind of improve on that and see him getting into those positions more. But I think he's great all round anyway. But yeah, it'd be great to see more of that. And I think it's the first time I've seen him, try today without Wood, understandably. But yeah, I mean, definitely missing Wood today.
Yeah. And Nico, probably the best one, I think, was the Nico one where he cut inside and then he put that quite far wide. That was the best of them. One did go in, Mark. We have to talk about Jotter. I mean, talk about encapsulating a player in a second half cameo. At one point, you wrote, "Oh, what's up, group? What is he doing?"
I know.
It could have been about anything, really. But yeah, what about Jotter?
Yeah, I first of all, I thought it was a strange decision to take Elanga off, and then we didn't appear to change system. I don't know if we went to a back four. I mean, I know Sky said we did, but it did still seem to be Dominguez was playing right wing back, and only once did Murillo get exposed out there. So I don't think Murillo went to a fullback position. So it looked like we just brought Jota on a like for like, and we just played higher up the pitch and took more risks. I might be wrong, but that's how it looked to me. And so I thought that's a strange substitution. If obviously Elanga's got an injury, it makes sense, right? So that made sense of it. When Jota came on, he was typical, really. He just brought chaos, didn't he? I think he is better tucked in centrally. I think he has got more natural goal scorers instinct than Elanga. I think Elanga scores spectacular goals, and Jota's someone who can leap in the box and perhaps take chances if we can get crosses in. He has played there before, so he is an option there. But he came on and took his goal well. It was a great finish, and he unsettled them. And they were very, very unsettled in that second half, and he played his part there. So it was a positive performance from him, but typically he got booked and he was walking a tightrope, I think, in that game. And so it's what we've seen from him this season. I still don't think that long-term he's a solution for us. I think that he may well go out on loan next season, depending on what we can bring in. But if Chris Wood's going to be out longer and Elanga's out, then Jota Silva's going to have a crucial role to play now.
Yeah, I mean, has he almost earned a start, Saveena? Say Elanga's out, I guess he has to start, but it maybe just he start ahead of Tyro. I mean, Jota versus Jordan Pickford in the battle of, winding people up is going to be interesting next week if he does start, isn't it? Is Saveena there? Oh, you're there, yeah. You're there, Saveena.
Sorry, I think it just froze.
Oh, you can hear now.
Yeah.
You can hear now. Don't
Can
worry.
you see me?
Jota. Yeah. What about Jota for starting
perfect.
against Everton and winding Jordan Pickford up?
Jota Silva. Yeah, I thought he did really well today when he came on. I would say he probably had the biggest impact in the second half. He got his goal. He made a really impactful performance, I think. It's a real shame that Elanga is injured because I would have, I think we'd all prefer for Elanga to start. But hopefully it's not too serious. Hopefully it's not too bad. But yeah, I do have faith in Jota Silva, especially after seeing that performance today. Another thing on the injuries as well, it's like, as you say, we've got that kind of regular first team. It was bound to happen at some point. It's a shame that it's happening at this point in the season. It seems like it's all happening all at once. But we've got a decent run in, so I think we'll be all right.
Do you think it was Inevitable's not the right word, Mark. It was the big risk that once one domino fell, you can always see 3 or 4 falling because of the small squad, the volume of games. We had a slide on Thursday, the volume of minutes specifically played by a core group. This isn't a surprise necessarily, is it?
No, and 120 minutes at Brighton. If you get to an FA Cup semi-final, if you have a cup run, and we've had extra time in 3 of those ties now, so it takes its toll. I mean, we're the team that do the fewest sprints in the Premier League. So I think the way we play, it's not luck that we don't have injuries. It's based around the way we're playing. We're not putting our players under the same degree of stress that other clubs do, and therefore our injury record is probably better because of that. So it's not just pure luck. So it's not like it was inevitable we would get injuries. I think it's the way we play which has got us to that point, and perhaps also the medical staff as well. We don't know what they're doing, but I think the coaching and the tactics allow us to have a solid, reliable 11 without too many injury concerns. The Ola Reina injury happened off the ball, was very unfortunate. The Chris Wood injury happened on international duty, very unfortunate. And other than that, it's been fatigue, I think, which is from the cup run, which has played a part. So I don't think it was inevitable, but I do like Saveena says, it's the timing is not great, because it looked like we were in a comfortable position with a buffer now, with a good run in, and now all of a sudden we're looking a bit threadbare in key areas, and some of our top talent, it looks like, is missing, and we're going to rely on grinding out wins now at home to Everton, at home to Brentford, to get us over the line. But I think we can do it, and I hope perhaps that Elanga's injury isn't any more than a precaution, because we thought perhaps we're 2-0 down at Villa Park, let's save him, and that Chris Wood's return is imminent.
Yeah, hopefully so. Just one last thing on the game, Saveena, before we come to man of the match. Murillo. So at some point one of these is going to go in. I mean, if that goes in, we're having a totally different conversation, aren't we?
I was literally just thinking that as you said it. Yeah. So yeah, he hit it off the bar at the end, and we've seen that a few times this season where it's come from a long way. It was an amazing strike, and I think he's bound to get another goal sooner or later. He definitely deserves it, and it did look like that was going in. It should have gone in. But if anyone deserves a chance, it's Murillo.
It'll happen. Murillo's going to get out of the goal against Chelsea last day of the season. Hopefully we're in the Champions League by then. You never know. He's going to ping one in from 25 yards. Right, we'll do our man of the match next, although Saveena gave hers away earlier.
Sorry.
But, let Mark
spoiler alert.
Just before that, thank you very much to Nottingham Window Company, second sponsors as ever in our post-match shows. Lovely weather at the moment, so if you're thinking of upgrading windows or doors, then get in touch with Nottingham Window Company. The link is in the description. So thanks for their backing as ever. Right, Saveena, say it again. It's still Nico Williams for you then, man of the match.
It is, yeah. I haven't changed my mind in the last few minutes. Nico Williams, yeah. He's been my man of the match for the last few matches, to be fair. I just think he's got such a brilliant work rate. He was very attacking today, and he just puts his all into, all the games. It was great to see him kind of being, he's more forward today. And yeah, a shout out to Jotter as well. I thought he played really well, but Nico Williams definitely topped it for me today. Yeah.
A couple of shouts, Mark. Matt Sells in the chat. We haven't mentioned him. He made a really big save from Rodgers. That would mean Murillo. What was he doing there? But a couple of big saves came up well for us. But what about you, man of the match?
Yeah, I agree. I think it was Nico for me. He had to switch sides. He really carried the game to them second half. I think Jotter was a big influence in the second half, obviously with the goal. But I thought Nico's driving runs was what was causing problems for them. And Saveena's right. Over the last 4 or 5 games, he's been very, very consistent. Perhaps not one man the match, because there's been other outstanding performances, but he's back to that consistent best that we saw last season, where he won, Player of the Month 3 times. So I think he deserves it today. It's a very difficult game to give a man the match in, because it was a very crazy, bitty, unorganised kind of match, wasn't it? There wasn't that regular order we see from a Forest team, so it was difficult to pick a player out. But I think Nico, despite missing that chance second half, it was a good chance, and he could have tucked that away. I think he was the catalyst for a lot of good things. So I'm going to give it to him.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, no one comes out of that with more than an 8 out of 10. It was a really strange game. The three players mentioned were the three I was thinking. Sells made really good saves. Yeah, I thought, I mean, it was Nico for me. I think he's really elevated his game level. But I would give a good word to Jotter, who, just for being an absolute rat. I mean, Villa fans are going to be. I can see a Villa fan in the comments. I'm sure Villa fans absolutely hated him. So it was just funny as well. I mean, the thing with Martinez is just stupid, but it was good because it rattled them. Martinez is rattleable, and he took his goal really well. So yeah, Nico for me, but I do give a big word for Jota, who did himself no harm at all today in that one. Right, just before we wrap up, then Saveena, Everton next. How are you feeling? Are you backing us still comfortably to win that one? Are you backing us still in the grand scheme of things for Champions League football?
So sorry, I think I just lost you again. I got the gist of it though.
It was a very long question.
So yeah, I think I got the gist of it. So I think I hope the injuries clear up. Hopefully in the next few weeks. I've heard Aines isn't too bad. Fingers crossed. Although I definitely can't say for sure. I do think we're going to get Champions League football, so we're probably 3 to 4 wins away from getting that. I think we'll get those points on the board. And we'll start that with Everton, and looking forward to Wembley as well. The FA Cup. Hopefully, we'll be lifting the trophy 2 games time. But it's looking very positive.
What about you, Mark? How much damage done, or is that more TBC? Because in a sense, the result, we kind of saw it coming. Is it more about the injuries that could qualify how much damage was done?
Yeah, I mean, I think by activating Villa's Champions League prospects, which is what those 3 points have done, it might be okay, because they've got to play Newcastle and City back to back, so they can't all win. So they've got to come up against 2 of the teams that are also chasing it. So that could work in our favour now, because Villa are very much in sight of a top 5 finish as well. So, there's a chance that people could do us a favour. I'd like to think we won't need that, but I'm starting to get more nervous because of the injuries. Because Everton at home, not an easy game. David Moyes has revived that Everton side, and you saw today that they got a point against Arsenal, not a full strength Arsenal. It's a weakened Arsenal side, but it was still a good result. And Everton are a very hard team to beat. We're going to need some weapons on the pitch to do that. We played Brentford at home, who have got an outstanding run of away form recently. I think they've won 5 of the last 6 away from home. And we've got Spurs and Palace away, where yes, we could go and get something at both those games, but Palace are also playing well under Glasner, so they're having their normal second half of the season revival. Spurs, I think we could probably get 3 points there. Not easy. So we're going to need to pick up some points. And if we had our full strength 11 available to us, I would be confident. But I'm starting to get a little nervous that those games are going to be games that we're going to have to grind out results in, and we might have to fall in some favours elsewhere. So maybe not a bad thing that Villa have got their sights set on that top 5 finish. It might actually help us, although it doesn't feel like it today, of course.
No, it doesn't. But I mean, the other thing, we've obviously got the big cushion. The other thing is what the other teams do. Newcastle have got Leicester on Monday, so I think we can almost chalk that up as 3 points. Who have Chelsea got tomorrow, Mark? Is it Brentford?
Chelsea tomorrow. Let me just go back and have a look. Chelsea have got, Brentford away, which is not an easy game, but at home they've not been as strong. We need Brentford to take something off them, don't we? Yeah.
Any points they drop, then that's big. Brighton lost today, didn't they? So I think we can rule Brighton out. The field's just narrowing a little bit. I think we'd have ruled Villa out if we'd have beaten them today. But all to play for, certainly. Right. If you have enjoyed this, do us a favour, hit like, hit subscribe, do consider membership or Patreon. I've seen a few more people sign up for membership recently, which is fantastic. Or just give us that lovely 5-star review on Apple or Spotify. A couple of programming notes. Back on Monday, 10 a.m. with Gary and Mark. So we'll talk a bit more about this game, but we'll give Mark some other talking points, no doubt. So do join us for that. One other thing about the live show, thanks to those who came. It was a great night, really enjoyed it. Unfortunately, it won't come out as a podcast as normal because the filming crew had to drop out at the last minute for perfectly legitimate reasons. Just one of those things. But we'll be back with another one in the summer and then in the autumn. So do join us for one of those if you can. And lots of other good stuff coming up this week. I'll speak to Seb Hutchinson. He's going to come on Wednesday, and then we'll look ahead to the Everton game. Right, Saveena, any final thoughts? Anything you want to add before we go?
No, just looking. Yeah, like I said, just looking forward to good times ahead, Forest, and I think I'll get back to my chocolate crisps and ice cream. Not to rub it in. But no, it's great to be on again.
No, it's good to have you. We'll have you back on again before the end of the season, I'm sure. Mark, I'll offer you any final thoughts. We've got to keep your powder dry a bit for Monday. So
I have. No, I'm looking forward to being with you more over the run-in because I should have a bit more availability, as you know. Maybe do some daytime ones as well. So yeah, I'm a little bit nervous. I need to have a chat with Greg, and he'll probably turn me around because he's always optimistic. So yeah, I need to hear good news of Aina, Wood, and Elanga. That's what I need, and then I'll pep up a bit.
Yeah, definitely. We'll monitor that through the week, certainly. And as Mark says there, he should be on with us more this season and next, which is great news. So really pleased to be able to do more with Mark. Right. Have a good weekend, everyone. Don't feel too down. I think obviously it's disappointing to lose a game. I didn't think we'd win. I thought we'd lose, if I'm honest, especially when I saw the team sheet. So we're not going to win them all. I think we can take something from it. It was a weird game, an un-Forest game, but we'll see what Everton brings. But yeah, I'm certainly not too downhearted about it. So thanks to Saveena, thanks to Mark. Have a good weekend, everyone. And then if we don't see you Monday, we shall see you soon.